the mga hottest issue now, of course, yung mga contractors. So maybe we can just have an update from Commissioner Lumagi. What actions have been taken, especially do sa mga na-involved, do sa mga top 15, do sa flood control, because of course, people are longing for answers, no? The public is really longing for answers. So sinasabi ng iba kasi, especially mga legitimate businessmen, sinasabi na kami konting ano, may LOA kaagad, ganun. Nagrereklamo sila, konting ano, kami babayad ng maayos. Tapos malalaman namin itong mga to, ghost pala, eh hindi natin alam kung nagbabayad ba ng tamang buwis mga to. So, any updates sa Commission Lumagi regarding this controversial contractors?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Last week, we filed the first criminal case against the Discayas and Saint Gerard, one of the companies of the Discaya, for tax evasion amounting to 7.1 billion pesos. So that's the initial batch para po sa mga nagtatanong or nagtatanong bakit Discaya lang po yung finailan. That again, inuulit po namin, ito lang po yung unang kinasuhan at ito lang po yung unang natapos at patuloy pa rin yung ginagawang investigation or pag-audit doon sa mga iba pang contractors involved. And we're also looking into other personalities involved dito sa ano na to. And rest assured that patuloy yung gagawin natin na pag-audit. And yung sa mga sinasabi po na yung mga ibang negosyante na stricto ang BIR na nag-i-issue po ng audit ay we rest assured din po sa lahat ng ating mga negosyante na hindi lamang po sila yung tinitingnan po natin. In fact, ito po nga sa Discaya hindi naman po ngayong taon lang ito tiningnan na last year, and yung 2019 meron na pong final decision po yan na na-issue na po tayo, and the audit process really takes time because we have to afford the taxpayers due process. Pero patuloy yung ginagawa nating pag-audit at pagsilip sa mga contractors na ito. And especially for government contractors po kasi, malaki rin po yung nagiging compliance po niyan in terms of total overall tax payments because of the withholding taxes being done by the DPWH. Kaya po talagang malaki rin ang tax payments. Kaya po sa mga nagtatanong rin po na bakit hindi nasisilip ng BIR dahil kung wala bang red flag yan, ay initially po malaki po ang tax na binabawas ng DPWH bago bayaran ang mga contractors na to, whether the contracts have been done correctly or ghost man yan, malaki po yung tax na nabayaran because initially bago pa sila makakuha ng payment from DPWH ay nakaltasan na sila both for income tax and the value added tax. So yan po.
Also, yung mga ano, I understand also yung mga online will be assessed as well, no? The tax na because we understand that we are really in the because of the limited fiscal space, we really have to raise revenues, no more revenues. Kaya nga siguro marami umaangal because of your aggressive effort, no, to raise more revenues for the priority programs of government. Yung pong pati po yung mga influencers, no, pati nga po sila may mga umaangal ako nakasama na they are also being assessed, no? Pero siguro naman ano lang, I hope that there will be yung pong basis na lang po siguro on computing the taxes para lang hindi they don't feel that they are being singled out. Yun po. Ano ba update po, Commissioner? So to mga influencers, tapos yung online also, yung mga ibang ano, yung mga unconventional sources of revenues, ang mga bagong sources natin.
Yes, Mr. Chair, because especially during the pandemic, tumaas po yung lahat po ng transactions online for yung mga online transactions, and of course yung ating mga digital content creators, social media influencers, dyan po talaga umusbong yan. And what we did was the first is education muna. When we started, hindi naman agad natin talaga sila hinabol. It's really, we actually nagpatawag po tayo ng mga meetings sa lahat ng mga different associations ng mga online sellers and mga social media influencers to educate them that they have obligation to register and pay taxes, kasi po naiintindihan po natin na marami rin po sa kanila na nagkaroon lang ng kita, nag-register pero hindi hindi nila alam yung kanilang obligasyon na kinakailangan palang magrehistro, kaya naman na yan po yung naging initial na focus po natin to educate them, and then eventually yung iba po talagang hindi nagre-register. That's why we have to resort to our official official audit on them.
Siguro is pang point, Mr. Chair. Two BIR officials were recently arrested during entrapment operation of NBI over an alleged scheme to solicit a kickback from a corporation. So, Commissioner, this kind of news further deteriorates our people's trust to the government, no? Because of the scandal na ito. This flood control scandal is the biggest scam probably. One of the biggest, or probably the biggest scam that has hit government. And it erodes or deteriorates our people's trust in government, especially in the ongoing investigation. So, are there reports of similar incidents, and how does the leadership of BIR ensure that personnel do not engage in schemes of corruption? Sabi nga ni Chairman Win, pag sinabing BIR, BOC, parang naiisip kagad maraming pera eh. So, what steps do you take? Does the agency undertake so that yung mga ganito pong pagdududa ay ma-address natin?
Yes, Mr. Chair, actually that's an unfortunate event, pero po ever since po tayo nung napupo po tayo, we already focused on addressing corruption issues in BIR. Kaya naman po isa sa focus area po natin yung integrity and professionalism of the institution. And since then, we have quite a number of disciplinary measures undertaken. Marami na po tayong mga sinuspend at mga tinanggal na mga officials ng BIR ever since. And patuloy pa rin yung pagmamonitor natin, and in fact itong nangyari po na yan ay na-issue na po natin ng preventive suspension order. And definitely we will act accordingly and swiftly, decisively on all these issues, at hindi po natin na hahayaan po yan, gaya nga po ng sabi ni Secretary Ralph na dito po sa DOF family, we do not tolerate corruption. And definitely lahat po ng actions na gagawin po natin, especially from digitalization and all other efforts, will be geared towards addressing corruption issues para matigil din po ito.
Well, that's welcome. That's good. Welcome. That's a welcome level coming from you, Commissioner. Especially at this time that people are really hungry for results, no? Dahil po sa scam na to, talagang may galit may rage ang publiko, ang taong bayan. So I'm hoping that those who are really guilty or those who really abuse should really be prosecuted, and sana po may matuluyan. I think sa mga talaga for us to be able to curb corruption, yung certainty of punishment, kailangan talaga may makulong na dito. Yan ang naisip na tao, wala kasi nakukulong eh. So we're hoping that meron po talaga. It's sad, but we really have to do it, no? Para bumalik yung we need to bring back the trust and the confidence of the people in our government, in the bureaus, the department, in the government. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
To Senator JB. Commissioner Lumagi, yes, Secretary.
With the provision, let me assure the committee that based on our conversations with the President, is that maraming makukulong dito. Thank you.
Commissioner Lumagi, itong kanina nabanggit ni Senator JV yung mga LOA, at ako marami rin ako nakakausap mga MSMEs typically. What's the fastest way to report to you or to report to your investigative body mga erring BIR officials who are abusing their position? Anong pinakamabilis na ipaabot sa department? I commend you for investigating, suspending, even removing some of the corrupt officials. Pero dapat tuloy-tuloy ito no? And importante, umaabot sa inyo or umaabot doon sa mga disciplinary officers ninyo. So what's the fastest way for them to... Iba kasi natatakot diba? Kasi pag nag-report, baka balikan. Diba? Yun ang kanilang kinakatakutan. So importante rin yung certainty of reporting, na pag report maabot talaga sa inyo, or else baka ma-report, babalikan sila, no? So what's the fastest way?
Well, thank you for that. We part of our integrity and professionalism nung ginawa po natin na program na ito is to make sure that there's a dedicated avenue to submit complaints. And isa po dyan yung sa chatbot po natin. Sa website po, meron pong chatbot dyan si Revi. Nasa lower right portion yan ng website natin. There's a feature there that you can submit complaints, not just against taxpayers kasi meron din po yan yung mga, if you know of some tax evaders, you can also submit complaints against yung mga tax evaders, but also against erring officials. So meron po doon, and also pwede rin po doon sa email at yung commissioner@bir.gov.ph, tumatanggap din po tayo dyan. So that's why yan po nakikita po natin, and especially if complete yung ating information and documents to support the complaint, definitely we will act on those complaints. Sometimes the reason why we were not able to act on the complaints is because wala naman laman, nagrereklamo lang tapos entirely allegations, and we cannot make any follow-ups because even the identity and even the information and contact details are not true. Kaya medyo it's difficult for us to follow up on the complaints. Pero kung kumpleto po yan, definitely marami po tayong complaints na actionan, and definitely it will result in disciplinary measures, commensurate disciplinary measure.
The Commissioner, itong mga nagre-report sa ito, diretso ba sa inyo ito, or you have a panel, or anong assurance na umaabot to decision makers, not only to low-level employees?
Initially po,
yun ang minsan pagsusumbong ka, natatakot ka, baka doon lang sa mga taong wala namang decision making and then kumakalat lang, no? So there's also that fear na mabalikan sila, especially with BIR, kasi BIR is such an important bureau for businessmen, no? So kung MSME ka, micro ka, or small ka, ayaw mo magkaroon ng kaaway, no? So is this diretso ba sa ito or diretso sa decision makers? What's the internal process?
Yung mga complaints po na sasabihin niyan, dumediretso po lahat yan sa Internal Affairs Service. And then sila po yung initial na nag-evaluate on the complaints. And eventually po, talagang nakikita rin po namin na monitor din po namin.
Okay. All right. Just a few policy questions, Commissioner. Itong balikan ko ulit yung ease of paying taxes. Meron dito under Section 3 classifications of micro, small enterprises, and we really focus on micro and small, no? Dahil nga marami sila. I think there are about 80 to 90% of our registered businesses. Have we classified them already? Na-classify na ba yung micro and small businesses? And then in the law also, they will be accorded with a treatment fit for micro and small businesses, no? Para hindi naman sila pareho same treatment as, let's say, the large taxpayers. Marami dito sa mga micro small, they pay their own taxes, sila gumagawa ng sariling libro. Unlike yung mga malalaki, they have accountants and accounting firms. So ano na ba ito, na fulfill na itong Section 3 of the EOPP Act?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we've already made the classification into micro, small, and medium and large as well. So meron na po yan, and we also revised our forms, some of the forms for the micro and small, to make it simpler compared with the medium and large taxpayers. So mas maliit po yung mas konti po yung kinakailangan fill-upan, mas maiksi po yung mga forms or taxable forms for micro and small. And patuloy pa rin yung pag-isip namin kung paano pa pwedeng bawasan ito, although limited din po kasi yung pagbawas natin, considering that a lot of information are also being required of us by different agencies for information and data purposes. Kaya minsan ang hirap pong tanggalin ng mga ibang line items, but susubukan po namin na magawa po yung mas simple pa talaga na hopefully also sa ano ko rin po dapat hindi na kinakailangan pang mag-hire ng accountant for micro and small taxpayers, but we've already issued several issuances, yung revenue regulations and several RM or revenue memorandum circulars to implement this shorter or simpler tax forms.
And their penalties mas mababa.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oo, kasi dati same treatment ka pag large ka and micro the same treatment. So under the law, ginawa nating mas mababa. Not naman to encourage them to violate, but just to accord them with the reasonable amount of penalties.
Yes, Mr. Chair. That's already being taken or being considered, Mr. Chair, because effective na po yung batas po na yan, especially with the issuance of the revenue regulations in 2024.
Another policy question under the EOPT Act. It was raised to us by some taxpayers. Yung risk-based classification for VAT refund claims. And so I understand nag-assign na kayo ng risk classification on VAT refund. But there's this policy under Revenue Regulation 5-2024 na if you are low risk 3 consecutive filing of VAT refund claims, on the 4th refund claim, gagawin ka ng high risk. No? So, parang counterintuitive siya because you've been low risk for 3 VAT refund claims. So, nagre-refund ka na 3 beses, low risk ka naman. Pero on the 4th refund claim, gagawin ka ng high risk. You know? So, for me, my personal opinion that it sounds counterintuitive dahil wala namang problema sa'yo. So, dapat low risk ka na. So, what's the rationale that they are automatically raised to high risk? And for me, it will discourage these taxpayers from, well, not discourage naman, but it's for them, it sends the wrong signal because from low risk, nagiging high risk sila. Parang naging risky sila bigla for no specific reasons.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Because when you're classified as low risk, wala pong audit na ginagawa po yan.
Yes.
Automatic. When you're classified as low risk, ay most likely wala na pong question yan. I-issue na po yung refund for 3 consecutive years. So to prevent abuse on these classifications ng low risk and high risk, dahil nga sabihin nila, okay, if low risk, lulusot at lulusot dahil nga hindi na kinakailangan pang i-check, and we will not check all the documents to be submitted or that should be looked into to determine whether you're really entitled to a VAT refund. Kaya naman po parang ang nangyari lang po dito is once in a while titingnan po. It doesn't mean that when you're classified as high risk, it means that you're hiding something or we see something illegal already. It's just saying that since you'll be put in high risk, we will audit you for this time so that ma-check lang po talaga kung maayos kasi nga po baka ang tendency lang po dahil nga you've been classified as low risk, then iniisip na hindi na mau-audit, so kaya nang magpalusot dahil nga po low risk naman ako, so itatago ko na. So eto parang one way of just checking na once in a while ay i-check, i-double check ko lang yung isa-submit ninyo. So that's once a afternoon, low risk na ulit. Pero at least there's a may check pa rin in a way. Yun po yung
the message kasi sa mga tax, at least yung nag-avail ng VAT refund, bigla silang naging high risk and therefore parang may ginawa silang hindi tama, no? Kasi kung 3 times silang low risk, biglang high risk, ang message doon parang may ginawa silang hindi maganda. So may I suggest, ito nakita ko rin in other countries sa mga customs, diba nag-ano sila ng random? So as a rule, lahat exempted, but in some jurisdictions, they implement random inspection. In fact, ako na target na yun ako a few times, no? And I perfectly understand kasi hindi naman lahat baka magpalusot bigla na lang, no? So may I suggest, subject to your review, na mag-random na lang once in a while rather than shifting from low risk to high risk. At least in that sense, may check and balance pa rin, no? And there is no misinterpretation na may ginawa silang hindi maganda at kaya sila naging high risk, no?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I think siguro baka lang po na-alarm sila because of the classification ng high risk.
Yun talaga, actually yun talaga, no?
Pero sa totoo lang po, hindi naman talaga technically classified as high risk. It's just yung paglagay lang po ng high risk, it's just ano lang na, so yung parang kailangan lang i-check. Pero it doesn't mean na meron ngang nakitang ano na.
Yeah.
So I guess pwede po yun. Ibang terminology yung gagamitin that
Or
even if you're low risk, pwede pa rin. Kasi po ang nangyayari kapag low risk, as a matter of course, we won't look into your submissions. So kapag high risk, pwede naming tingnan. So kaya lang siya sinishift to dun sa high risk so that we can look into the submissions. But again, pwede namang i-random. So maybe we'll just change the terminology. Baka naman kasi ngayon being classified as high risk, feeling nila may nagawa na agad silang issue.
Yun ang message na nakukuha nila, no, na naging high risk sila bigla for no particular reason, and the message that they're getting kasi nga may nagawang hindi maganda. So I think it's messaging also, no? Itong risk base is really messaging that if you're low risk, then you're a good taxpayer, maganda yung history mo, the bureau recognizes your honesty, and then all of a sudden maging high risk ka, parang nawala yung recognition na yon. So a suggestion moving forward is just maybe a random approach after 3 low risk. You're now subjected to you can be subjected to a random sampling. Some methodology that will not send the wrong message to our taxpayers, because messaging is also very important in